Hello, my friend. I wanted to share with you today some really supportive fall seasonal eating guidelines. These guidelines are great regardless, even if it's fall. These are guidelines to follow to help your body feel more grounded. If your mind is spiraling out and you're finding it hard to focus, or you're having poor sleep at night, or you generally feel anxious or dehydrated or dry, or you just got home from traveling, or you're currently traveling, all of these lifestyle experiences or all of these movements in life increase the level of VATA or air element in our body. So the air element in nature is responsible for transition and change. So this is why the fall, because it's a rapid transition from summer into winter, where there's lots of wind, which is indicative of air. There's lots of circulation. There's lots of wind blowing the leaves off the trees. It's a season of depletion, of dryness, and of kind of stripping away. So when this also happens in the body, if Vata is in excess, it creates dry skin, it creates anxiety in the nervous system, it creates scattered thinking and busy mind, like just constantly this feeling of ungroundedness. And so if at any time of the year you experience this, you can follow these guidelines. And if where you are in the world happens to be the autumn or fall season, these are great guidelines to follow. So the first thing that you want to consider is, because this excess air quality is in the body and in the environment, the excess air creates dryness and it creates coldness. Imagine standing out in the environment, bare-skinned with the wind on you. What would happen, right? You would feel cold and your skin would certainly get dried out eventually. Like your mouth would feel dry and your eyes and ears would feel dry. And so when it comes to nutritional guidelines, Ayurveda looks at, well, what are some of the ways we can balance these opposing forces in the body so that the body can maintain more of a neutral, homeodynamic state? So understanding some of these principles and how to balance them allows you to be in more of this dynamic dance with nature, and therefore bring about the most healthful nature inside of your own body and health, so you can experience more clarity, so you can experience more connection to your inner wisdom, to your sense of self and your sense of purpose, and be of greater service to the world around you, whether that's your family or your work or beyond. So the first thing to consider with the nutritional guidelines is to eat things that are meals that are warm and cooked. Now, these warm cooked meals, I'm going to go into more specific foods, but just the idea of favoring more warm cooked meals already off the bat starts calming your nervous system, right? From this dry, cold, excessive air element. Think soups, think stews, think roasted veggies or sauteed veggies. Think warm rice bowls and grains, or whatever really lights you up in terms of like cooked warm foods. Number two is, in those meals, including healthy oils. So healthy oils such as sesame oil is a great one in the fall because it's really warming, especially toasted sesame oil tastes amazing. You can still use coconut oil, of course. Coconut oil is a little more cooling. So if you know that you have excess heat in your body and your temperature runs hot, or you know that you have a pitta constitution, you still use coconut oil. I'm just kind of highlighting the oils that are a little even more warming. Ghee is a nice neutral oil. Ghee is clarified butter, and it's known in Ayurveda as Amrita. It's nectar to the body. It's very, very soothing and calming and healing to the nervous system as well as the gut lining. So yeah, experiencing, you can use olive oil, which is slightly warming, but that's also a good, all of the oils are going to be helpful. All oils are slightly warming. So if you are enjoying a salad, for example, you want to put more oil than you're used to and maybe have that salad with a soup, with something warm with it. I still eat and enjoy raw greens this time of year. I just know that my body wants a little bit more warmth with them. Sometimes I actually saute some of the veggies that I put into my salad so it's warm, and then I put a nice warm dressing with lots of oil, and to me this feels more nourishing and grounding. Okay, number 3, the local farms in your area, if you have a connection to farmers markets, things like that, you'll see what's in abundance during this time of year. And the produce that's in abundance at this time of year are hard winter squashes and root vegetables like beets and carrots and turnips and rutabaga and things that come out of the ground, and the squashes that have hard, dense outer casings: pumpkin, acorn squash, delicata squash, kabocha squash, and all of these squashes are wonderful to roast. You can make soups out of them. You can put the entire squash just to make it easier. Butternut squash is a great example. Most people are like, butternut squash, but it's so hard to skin it, and you have to roast it, and then it's just so much time for prep, right? Well, if you take the entire squash and stick the whole thing in the oven and stab it with like a knife a couple times just to create a place for steam to escape out of the squash when it's roasting, and just stick it in the oven for like an hour at, say, 350 or 400 degrees, depending on how thick the meat of that particular squash is. And you just roast it until the skin starts to dimple or even make little bubbles, little kind of roasty looking bubbles. And then you can kind of press it. And if it dimples in, it's soft. It's a very, very forgiving way to cook your roasted veggies. And then you take it out of the oven, let it cool off. And then it's like butter. Just slice it in half and scoop the flesh out. And you can throw it in the blender with some broth. You can make a creamed soup. You can mix it with some coconut milk and there's so many different things you can do with it. I'm not going to get into just verbally chatting about recipes here, but I just want you to kind of start to get an idea of some of the ways that you can easily start to cook some of these things. The nice thing with beets too, you can do the whole beet. Just scrub off the skin, the dirt as much as you can, but you don't even have to peel them all. Put the whole beet in a pot of boiling water and let it boil for, it depends on how thick the beet is, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how big the beet. If you're using little beets, it'll be quicker. Bigger beets, obviously, will take longer. But then when you drain them out, let them cool off so you don't burn your fingers, and then the skins, just with like a dull paring knife, you can even use a butter knife, the skins will just basically fall right off, and then you can cube them and add them into some rice or a rice bowl or your salad, and it's just so simple and so nourishing, and it's a huge time saver. So let me bring it back to the things, but these are just some things, some ideas of what you can do with some of the seasonal produce at this time. Okay, so this is number 4. Yep. We're talking about kind of grains and things that help you feel more grounded and close to the earth. So grains are inherently, they're more hydrating because they soak up water. Think about when you cook grains, they soak up the water, so they're a little bit more hydrating in your body, and they're very earthy and grounding. So I really would recommend rice bowls or squash. If you don't want to use rice, you can use squashes. You kind of want to stay away from, in this season, the drier, like cruciferous vegetables that create a lot of gas in the body, including cauliflower and broccoli. And I know like cauliflower rice, for example, is very, very popular, but that's going to create more excess air in your gut and in your body. And so if you want to substitute sweet potatoes, that would be, or some of the hard winter squashes instead of rice, this is going to be more grounding for this time of year and for this excess air element in the body. Buckwheat soba noodles, I just mentioned, those are phenomenal. They're super hearty. They're very protein rich. You want to get the pure buckwheat soba, not the buckwheat soba that is mixed with other kinds of wheat and enriched wheat, just the pure buckwheat soba noodles. I like to just boil that pasta and add in peas, because peas are really dense in protein. And I just toss that with sesame seeds and sesame oil, and I'll cook up some leafy greens like bok choy, or I'll saute celery and carrots and beets and these squashes, and you mix that all with the buckwheat soba noodles, and that's a really hearty, delicious meal, and all it needs is a drizzle of toasted sesame oil and some sesame seeds and a little sprinkle of salt, and you're good to go. Oh, so good. I think I'm going to make that for dinner tonight. I'm glad that I brought it up. Thanks for being in this conversation with me. Okay, number 5, the 3 tastes that balance excess vata in your body are sweet, sour, and salty. So a little bit more pink Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt, the really mineral-rich salts. Minerals are really balancing for vata, including kombu broths cooked with seaweed in them. They're very, very mineral rich, so that's very healing to the gut, as well as nurturing and grounding for your whole being. And then sour would be, a squeeze of citrus or the pomegranate seeds. I think pomegranates are kind of coming into season right now too. They have a little bit of a sour and a sweet taste. And then sweet in general, sweet potatoes, all the sweet squashes. Rice is inherently sweet. It has more sweet taste. So carbohydrates that are very dense and fiber rich and mineral rich sources, and then higher amounts of proteins and fats for the fall. So as you can imagine, the squirrels, think about the squirrels gathering all the nuts and seeds in the forest, all that protein and fat. All types of nuts and seeds are really great this time of year. You want to soak them, especially almonds are a great source of protein. You just want to soak them and peel the skin off, because that has an irritant to the gut and it'll actually increase vata. So you want to kind of keep an eye on that, trying to have more soaked, sprouted nuts and seeds. Seeds are going to be a little bit easier to digest, and it's easy to find hemp seeds and sprouted pumpkin seeds and sprouted sunflower seeds already made like that. Just get raw almonds, soak them, pop the skins off, and eat a handful of those, and that's a great protein. I wanted to give you, finally, number 6 is just some tips on prepping food to make it more vata pacifying. So I've kind of given you some of those tips along the way here, but one other thing to consider. So we mentioned that lettuces and raw foods, raw leafy greens, things like that are going to be a little bit more vata aggravating. Think that these are the leaves that are coming up out of the ground and that are blowing in the wind, and they have inherently in them more air, more vata qualities. They're very cooling. They're fantastic for the end of the summer, for all summer long, the end of the summer, to cleanse excess pitta or excess heat and inflammation out of the body. And they're really, really good. You can still have them all year round, of course, but there's some ways that make it a little bit easier for your body to absorb the nutrients from them and digest them in the fall. And that is to massage. So you can sprinkle, if you have a bunch of greens, spinach or kale or any kind of leafy greens that you want to eat, sprinkle it with a little pink salt and maybe a squeeze of lemon or lime or orange, something citrus, and then massage it with your hands. Like, just keep squishing it and squishing it and squishing it, and the salt actually starts to break down the fiber and release some of the liquid out of the leaves, and that makes it easier to digest, which is awesome. So you can do that. You can grate carrots and apples and things like that, so they have more surface area and you can steam them lightly, or you can just, again, let it soak in something that's a little bit acidic, and this helps start to break down the fiber, and it makes it easier to digest. Once the fiber breaks down on your massaged green salad, you can drizzle some oil on it, olive oil, for example, or a toasted sesame oil, or mix some sesame tahini, like nice liquidy sesame tahini into the whole thing. And then you'll have nice protein if you're using tahini, or just those nice fats that help warm the whole thing up and again help calm the vata and help your body ultimately extract more of the nutrients out of the meal that you're eating. The very last thing I'll say is try to avoid sipping cold things. So you want room temperature water or slightly warm water. I like to use a water bottle like this that's insulated, and I add some hot water into my room temperature water just so it's warmer when I drink it. Your body will absorb more hydration. If you drink even sometimes room temperature because it's colder time of the year, or cooler, it kind of goes right through you, and then you're less apt to actually drink it because it's cold. So slightly warm water, just chuggable warm, where you just can easily drink it. And then you can also sip hot water with lemon, drink more tea this time of year. If you are eating a raw meal, like a salad or something, sip a little bit of hot water, and it will help kind of bring some of those warm characteristics into the meal. So I hope these tips are helpful for you today, and feel free to write in the comments below. I'd love to hear which of the ones you're going to use. And I have a program that's running just through this fall at half off tuition, which is the Enlightened Belly 21-day gut reset. So this is going to help you get back your energy back, optimize your digestion. It's going to teach you all the nuances of understanding your unique gut type and what are the foods that would most support you. You're going to get my personalized support throughout the process. It's a super rich program, and I would love just to introduce you to some of the deeper trainings. If you're interested in the 21-day program, you can get it at the half off tuition, but I also have a free introductory training that you can just take to see if you want to go deeper into the program. And it would be so wonderful to have you for both of those things. So go ahead and download the free training at alicialyndiaz.com/gut-reset. That's alicialyndiaz.com/gut-reset. You can also just go to my website, alicialyndiaz.com, and click the button that says Gut Reset. Head on over there, get your free training, reset your gut, upgrade your health, your energy, your vitality, and I'll see you over there. And of course, I continue to share all kinds of deeper wisdom practices, meditations, right here on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, please click subscribe and turn on the notifications so every time I release a video, you will get all the goodies first and all of the healthy, vibrant, nutritional, and healing and health tips. I will see you on the next video. Blessings!